What is up? Welcome back to another Real Deal episode. I'm excited for this one because we have Jaxton Reber, and he's a beast. How old are you, Jaxton?
22.
22. So 22, and he's going to talk to us about a 20-unit apartment complex that he bought and took down. We're going to dive into the ins and outs of it here in just a second. And it's just cool to see you at such a young age doing something big. I think one of the biggest things that people struggle with is like how to scale. And a lot of people get stuck just doing these single family deals. They stick around to these properties that only cost a few $100,000 because it's comfortable and safe. But yet on the other hand, we hear so many people talk about, hey, you need to spread your wings. Like you need to, it's the same to do a small deal as it is to do a big deal. So you might as well do bigger deals. But you actually went out and did that. So super pumped to kind of learn from you today. And you're also been a student of real estate investing school for this past year. And so that's been like super fun for me to just watch you come in. Like, I think when we first met up, it was like, hey, I want to get into real estate. I have all this drive. I want to go be the best of the best. How do I, and it was actually like, we had some tough conversations at the beginning. Like, you're like, hey, I want to go big. Let's go big. Let's go big quick. Like, I want it now. There's no deals out there. I can't find anything. So I know we can kind of unpack all that, but those are some of the first few conversations that I remember. And then fast forward a year, and I think you've done a few other deals aside from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Another fourplex.
Sweet, dude. So awesome, especially at 22. I freaking love it. But yeah, give us the overview on your 20 unit, kind of the ins and outs of it, and then we'll just dive deeper into
it. Cool. Yeah. Definitely wasn't traditional at all. So, and this isn't a plug at all, but I was the way I found it was I was actually at Grant Cardone's real estate summit in Arizona, and he introduced us, like, just so everyone knows, the website's called 10X, right? So it's basically where they auction off commercial property. So I kind of got looking at that. Obviously, like, this deal compared to what Grant's doing is like super small. So I didn't like, you can kind of go up in front of people and like pitch deals and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this is probably too small for him. But anyway, so I was just kind of thinking it over. And at that time, it was about 3 weeks out from like the auction period. And so anyways, it got closer to the auction period. And with these auctions, you have to show all of your, you have to be able to like basically buy it in cash, right? So you have to show like liquid funds to be able to buy it in cash. So I had to bring in another partner to like, show enough funds and everything. So we ended up getting qualified, I guess, like registered to bid the like 5 minutes before the bid actually happened. And I guess I got a little bit ahead. So I had called in Arizona while I was at this real estate summit. I had called, asked about the property, done a little bit of due diligence, whatever. And they were wanting 30 to 40 grand a door. So they were wanting somewhere between 600 to 800. And knowing this going in, kind of knew like what my limits and thresholds were for bidding on it. And it was just like a bigger scale eBay, right? Like if you've ever like bid on eBay, like obviously there's a ton of adrenaline, but it was just a whole like thrill of emotion. But anyways, so we're getting to the end of the auction and I'm just like waiting to see how high it goes up, obviously, right? And then like throw one in at the very end. And I end up throwing in an offer, like barely got registered to bid, throwing an offer at like 585, and we end up getting it for like 15 grand lower than like their bottom line, which was super cool. And the people who sold us the property had bought it for 1.2. So we got like, anyways, yeah, it turned out really good, but it was nice. Like quite the process.
Yeah, I'm sure the adrenaline was pumping and it's like everything's happening all at once. It's gotten crazy, and that's how it is with those auctions. Dude, cool. So just to like pause you. So instead of being like, hey, I don't have the money, enough funds to be able to show that I could pay cash for this, I think a lot of people stop there. And that's actually what gets a lot of people from not even bidding on homes like this or diving into things like this. But you're like, hey, I know I'm going to go find a partner, somebody that can show proof of funds. I'm going to partner up with them. I kind of know that I want this type of a property. I've kind of went to the conference. I'm here. I found this. I'm excited about it. I've kind of done a little bit of due diligence, and now you have a partner. And then ultimately you submitted the bid, which was based on you doing some of your research. You got it accepted. And then from there, what happened?
Well, and one thing I want to add with that is like, obviously me, like, being so young and everything, like there is a lot, like bringing in a partner. It's, it goes both ways, because for me, I'm like, okay, I want to be able to provide them a good experience so we can partner on future deals. And there's a lot more pressure on the deal, right? Like if I do a deal on my own and it goes south, I can live with it, right? But something like this, it was like I had to make sure that everything was like in line, right? So yeah, we ended up buying the
Where did
property
you,
cash.
since you're talking about partners really quick, where did you actually find a partner? Like, I know a lot of people always ask that, like, how do you find the money? How do you find someone that's willing to invest? Maybe touch on that for just a second.
Yeah, so my
Or what advice would you have for somebody that's that needs to find a capital partner? Maybe they have a good deal.
So here's the thing is, I feel like sometimes people are almost like afraid to ask or to pitch people, when really like everyone, that has money is looking for these types of opportunities. So for me, I just viewed it as like, I'm adding value to them day one, right? I didn't really think of it as, oh, like I'm asking for money from them, more so that I'm adding value and giving them a good investment opportunity from day one.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. Great way to look at it. Any advice on where to find these people, or is it just with your network, you feel like, or what would you tell someone that's trying to find someone, or just pitch a lot of different people?
Yeah, I mean, this was like the first person that I pitched. I mean, this is just like all kind of in my network. But I feel like once you build like some sort of a reputation, here's the thing that like I've been able to see is like so many people like, and I'm sure you know this, right? But so many people like talk, right? And then they never do. And then it's like, if you never do, like you never are able to like earn people's trust. So even like me doing my first deal, right? It's like people look at it and they're like, oh wow, like how do I do the same thing? Because I've heard people say that are in their 40s, 50s, are like, dang, I wish I would have been doing this, picking up a property every year. And they look back, and obviously hindsight's 2020, but it's like, if you just start today and stop procrastinating it, then you like build your network a lot quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, the same people are probably saying the same thing when they turn 50 and when they turn 60. It's like, I wish I would have done that when I was 40. So it's awesome. Okay,
There's always something wrong with the market, at the time. And then, and then you look like 10 years, oh, well, it would have been good,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like, obviously when the market's high, interest rates are usually low, right? When the market's starting to dip down, interest rates usually high. So it's like, and so many other things. And so it's interesting because so many people complain about one or the other. And it's like the time that they actually align, it's never really there actually. And so it's like, just sure, pick what you want to complain about. It's like, choose your hard. You can choose the hard of, hey, deals are hard to find right now. But if you just don't do anything about it, then the hard is eventually going to be you not having the passive income that you want. Choose the hard of setting some money aside and actually investing it, the hard of having the difficult conversation of finding a partner or whatever it may be, right? Or spending the extra time looking for deals. But it's like, you got to choose your hard. It might as well be that hard versus the hard of, man, I wish I would have done this when I was your age, right?
Yeah. And one thing I would add too, for like the market thing, especially like the last year or two, has always been like a big topic of conversation. I think somebody who broke it down really good for me was I was in a basically just like a low level like entrepreneurship class in BYU. And we had like a 2 to 3 day, like almost kind of same thing, like real estate summit. Like the whole week or two was like just about real estate. And he drew like, it was almost just like a stock price, right? Just up and down, up and down. And he basically said like, you're going to buy here, you're going to buy here, you're going to buy here. But like over time, it's like all going to go up.
Yeah.
And I think real estate, like especially rewards like those who are patient, because people like, obviously it's not ideal to go buy a property that's like, say, break even, right? But if you did have a property that was break even, like in 10 years, you'll look back and be like, oh, wow, that was like 100% worth it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Totally, man. Yeah, and I think that's comforting too, because that's also what keeps people from diving in and getting going is like, oh, what if I mess this one up? Or what if I only break even on it? And it's not this home run deal. And so they never actually invest. But you're absolutely right. Time's rewarded. Time rewards real estate for sure. So after you got this, you won the bid. What's kind of the next steps, or what's the plan with the property? Because I know this is a recent one that you've done.
yeah, well, the next step, like immediately after getting it accepted, is sending them 20% non-refundable. So that obviously that was like gut wrenching. So
Yeah. I
sent
think you
them the
called me
money.
during that period, was like, I think it was
Yeah, oh,
like
yeah.
right at the end, like, should I send it? Do I do it? What,
Yeah, no, I think I
I'm not
called you
going to get
right
it back.
before the auction, right after the auction. And I was like, but that's the thing is it's like, if you're, I don't know, I had somebody tell me one time that like, if you're not waking up like every day with like a pit in your stomach about, oh, I gotta do this, like you want to be like living on the edge of discomfort, I think.
No.
And so that was like, I mean, that was probably the most uncomfortable I've been in a while, but it's like, it's paid off pretty well. And through that, obviously, I think like I was able to grow a ton. So yeah.
So with that, because I know you obviously talked about a partner already. How did you fund it? Did you syndicate the whole deal with different investors, or did you and your partner split the down payment, or how did you kind of structure that?
So we had to come in and buy the whole property in cash, and then I brought in another partner to refinance it, and we did cash out.
Cool. So you brought
Mhm.
in cash, and did you fix it up or anything like that? You had some money.
We not too much. I mean, it was like newly rehabbed when we had bought it, so nothing crazy. But one thing that's kind of a side note so just from like doing this deal, it's interesting because you have like the seller's agent, you have like the property manager that I've met, and I mean a lot of other like realtors in the area. So like just from this one deal, like I've expanded my network to probably, I would say 4 or 5 people who are sending me deals, know what I want, right? Like these people are like going to like real estate meetups like for me to bring me deals. And so I think like even just like that value is super, I guess, like underestimated, undervalued. Like
Yeah.
having people looking for deals for you is huge.
Yeah. And the cool part about that is it doesn't cost you any money, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not paying them to go out and find deals. Like they get paid through the transaction of the deal, which you're going to pay that no matter what. So
Mm-hmm.
might as well just network with them and tell them exactly what you're looking for and have them go out and go to battle.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
That's cool, man. So, and then you brought in another, not a partner, but you basically refinanced it into like long-term debt. So you didn't have all your cash tied up into the property. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We did 70-30. Then we took out the remainder of the cash, and yeah.
Cool, man. I love it. And then as far as like your numbers go on, I don't know if you have them on you, but like what do you cash flow on it? How much do you collect with rent? Do you know your expenses and whatnot?
Yeah, I do. So we collect right now. Let's see, we're at about 80% occupancy.
Mm-hmm.
We collect about 5,000 a month. And then it cash flows around about $1,500 a month.
Cool.
And we're actually in the process. So like we bought it, we were getting rent and everything. We're in the process of like I guess like putting in new tenants, right? Upping the rent a little bit because it's a little bit under market. I believe we bought it at a 12 cap, if I'm not wrong, and that was at under market rent.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of just going in and doing like a big flush and upping the rent a little bit. So,
Yeah.
and
That's
that
awesome.
was one thing that I learned from my first deal too was like, I didn't communicate very well with the property management company. So they like kicked everyone out and
Uh,
like wanted to get new people. And I was like,
yeah,
well, so just, I mean, just learning by errors and stuff, but yeah.
yeah. Better learn that on a fourplex than a 20-plex, I
Oh
guess.
yeah,
Right? Less people
100%.
to go and replace, unless you wanted them all out. But dude, that's
Yeah.
so cool, man. I love it. Like I just love that it's a bigger deal. I love that it's multifamily. I love that it's like you said, non-traditional, and the fact of the way that you financed it and the way that you took it down. So much to learn there. If I remember right, this is super random, but there was something, and obviously you factored into your numbers, but there was something that came up. I don't know if it was property taxes or something where we're like, I think it'd be good for people to not like forget and to calculate it into their deal flow. But do you remember what that was when we were talking?
Well, I
What
remember
was it?
when we were talking, there was a hiccup with finding out if it was a land lease or not. Is that what you're
Oh,
thinking
that's
about?
right. Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah. Yes,
okay,
yes. Okay.
yeah,
I knew there was
that
something.
yeah, that was, and honestly, that was a great learning opportunity for me too, because I'll have people that like, I help vet deals or whatever, and it'll say like land lease. I'm like, steer clear from that. So that was like huge, like a huge lesson that you taught me in that moment. So that was cool.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah. So I was like, I remembered something that came up and we had to dive deeper into it. But and that's just part of the due diligence process. You figure stuff out where it's, and that's part of doing your due diligence to make sure you're covered and you have those exit strategies, or you decide, hey, before I put my 20% into this, I want to do as much due diligence as I can, right?
Right, right.
So, dude, that's so cool. Anything any advice or anything you would just say and kind of like closing for somebody who's maybe in the same shoes that you were in a year ago, or maybe, doesn't have any properties, but like they're super passionate about doing real estate and building their passive income, or maybe they do have a couple properties, they're just trying to struggle to like, hey, do I do bigger deals? How do I get into them?
Yeah.
Very
Let me
broad
just,
question.
yeah, no, 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 it's actually great. So like, I think, I mean, obviously like Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Like that's huge, especially in real estate, is like being patient with it, right? When you look at like the thing that I love about real estate, you can look at a property and maybe it's, cash flowing, let's say like 10% cash on cash, and you're getting $500 a month. It's like, well, what's $500 a month? Which obviously like that, that'd be a great deal. But when you look at, the appreciation, the tax write-off, the cash on cash, when you look at like all sides of the investment, it really like it makes a lot of things like a no-brainer, and that's why I love it. One thing that I would say for people who are maybe just starting, one thing that was great that I feel like you taught me was like, just like, I guess this is more of a plug for like for your course, but like just being held accountable, right? To goals, and just being around a group of people who's constantly doing and doing, right? Because obviously there's so many people just out there talking, right? But once you
Yeah.
see people doing, you figure out that it's possible. Like there's no shortage of money out there. Like if you want to go do it, you can. Like with that being said, I looked at deals for 2 years before I got my first deal. And that's why I was able to jump on it, like knew exactly what I wanted. But
Yeah.
I mean, I had probably looked at, I mean, dude, like hundreds of deals, ran comps on them, and that's how I felt confident. But I mean, the
Yeah, and you were
biggest
the
deal,
biggest skeptic too, just like which
yeah,
I don't think is a bad thing necessarily, right? Because it's like,
uh-huh,
how did you do that? How did wait? There's nothing that exists. Like no, that
yeah,
doesn't exist on the market right now. You can't find that. You can't find that. And then it turned into like, how do you go find that? And what do you do to go and do that? And then you start, asking the right questions leads to the right answers and the solutions.
yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, gosh, there's like so many stories, and like it has been like a long but rewarding path. But yeah, I would say 100%. It's just like jump into it, figure out somebody who like knows what they're doing, who can mentor you, which obviously like that's what the course is just a bunch of mentors, right? And then like don't be afraid to do it. Like I had a couple of properties that I had backed out of before, and to be honest, they wouldn't have been great investments anyway. So I'm glad that I did that. But like
Yeah.
just taking that step of getting under contract was like, okay, like I now like this time I can actually go further. Let me get a little bit better, know what I'm doing, and dive into it full time. So
Yeah. Dude, that's so cool, man. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I know a lot of people pulled a lot out of that. With that being said, dude, if people want to connect with you or just ask you more questions about your deal, where's a good place for people to hit you up?
I
Are you
guess,
you're single? So any ladies,
of
give
course,
your phone
brother.
number.
No, no. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll give out my phone number for sure, but
I'm just kidding.
no,
Not put you on the spot.
no, my Instagram, because I made it when I was 12, it's Jaxton, Jaxton _Reber, REBER 22. So I gotta have the old baseball number in there, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Then yeah, just Jaxton Reber on LinkedIn, everywhere else. So
Sweet, dude. Awesome. Well, man, thanks for dropping some bombs, and it's the coolest thing about this is just the beginning for you. Like literally you're just getting started, which is so fun. I know you text me, I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, and I could just tell like all the fire was like, dude, I did this, like you're just so pumped
mhm.
up and amped. And so yeah, no doubt that fast forward 12 months from now that it's going to be crazy just in a year what you've done. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the recap of this one.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And the other thing too is in my Instagram, there's a link in my bio that I read a newsletter every month just of like the content that I'm consuming, what's helping me. So I just love to get that out to everyone so that,
Dude,
they
sweet.
can do the same.
Yeah, yeah. Go subscribe to Jackson's newsletter. He's a fitness buff as well. He's always crushing it. Just smashed was that your first marathon you did? I guess it's been a minute now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It was
smashed
my
a
first one.
marathon. He's shredded is all get out. So go hit him up, go subscribe to his newsletter.
But I
Well,
don't
thanks,
deserve the
brother.
hype, but appreciate it.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. Okay. Hey, take it easy, bro. Thanks again. We'll see you.
Yep. Thanks, Brody.